There are some movies which are so amazing which leaves you feeling so hollow afterwards, as nothing of this caliber will be made again. Today I'm talking about Steven Spielberg's classic
Back to the Future.
He had made so many good ones like The Goonies, E.T., Jaws, Jurassic Park, etc. But this one has a special place in my heart. I wasn't alive when this film was released, but this movie had so much impact on our pop culture that we hear the reference till this date.
What's that?
Back to the Future!
So without wasting any further time, let's delve into the story. The movie starts off with the intricate system which we see in Spielberg's movie. This has some foreshadowing like the man hanging on the clock tower, which we will see later. We meet one of our leads, Marty McFly, who is an assistant to a scientist, Doc Brown. This movie is set in a small town and I really love the vibe as so many characters are interconnected through it. And Marty McFly is not our typical underdog. He has a beautiful girlfriend, a good hair, and he is in a band. So according to my calculation, he's a stud.
Gay.
He got home after the school and he saw his car totaled by Biff, a bully who has been bullying his father, George, since high school. We get to meet Marty's sibling and his mother, who is very strict towards Marty. I know the beginning is a bit slow, but this is important for establishing the characters. Now we come to the best part. Doc calls Marty to be at mall's parking lot, where he is going to perform an experiment. We get to meet Doc, who seems kinda quirky, and that's the thing I love about him. He made a new invention with his car, which I might tell you looks the coolest thing ever. Doc definitely has a knack of making science experiments look cooler. This is a car which can travel back in time. To prove that, Doc performed an experiment with his car and his dog Einstein. I love the slight hesitation of Marty, but Doc pulled him in. The car vanished in front of their eyes after hitting 88 miles per hour to time travel. And we get to see some cool effects on the road. The car comes after a minute and we get to see his dog Einstein's stopwatch, which is 1 minute behind Doc's, proving that time travel works. He is ready to go into the future, precisely 25 years into the future. But his plans got interrupted by the terrorist. Actually, time travel is possible because of a thing called
Flux capacitor.
and the flux capacitor needs 1.21 gigawatts of energy to run. And this type of energy could be obtained through some radioactive material, so Doc obtained some plutonium. And you must be wondering, where did Doc get hands on such material? And this, my friend, where the terrorist comes in the picture. They asked Doc to make a bomb with plutonium, but instead he made a fuel for the flux capacitor. He betrayed the Libyans and now they are after him. During this commotion, Doc lost his life. And Marty, in panic mode, starts up the Dolores. He initiated the time travel and was set back to a barn. He accidentally went back in time, precisely 25 years back. He tried to go home, but that was not built in 1955. So he went to the nearest town and he was flabbergasted to see everything being the old school. He found a diner where he got Doc Brown's address, the only person who can help him now. While there, he met his father and he was at the same age as him. After George got bullied by Biff, Marty followed him. He found out that his father was a peeping Tom. George fell down off the tree and an oncoming car was going to hit George, but Marty got in the way and was slammed by the car. The driver took him home to attend to his needs. Marty then realized that he is in his mother's house, and more importantly, his mother is having a crush on him in his undies.
Hey yo, what the?
Actually, he interfered in a canon event where his dad was the one who got hit by the car, and now he's the one that his mother Lauren fell for. But by interfering, he put his own existence in danger, which will be explained later. He got to the family dinner and this gave rise to a popular meme.
Hey, I've seen this one. This is a classic.
After some unwanted attention from her mother, he excused himself and went out to find Doc's house. He got to his address and our beloved Doc did not believe anything that was coming out of his mouth. But after Marty told Doc how he got the bruise on his head today and how the idea of a flux capacitor came up to him, he believed him and we got one of the best title reveal here.
We're sending you back to the future.
After retrieving Dolores, Marty told the Doc that he might have interfered with a canon event. Doc saw Marty's family photo and one of his siblings was getting erased. And if they don't restore Lawrence and George's relationship, Marty will cease to exist. So this is the part where they formulated a plan. As they can't have the plutonium for the flux capacitor, and it is hard to get, but the second best thing to generate 1.21 gigawatts of energy is a bolt of lightning. And they precisely knew when and where it is going to strike from the flyer Marty brought from the future. So they have have a plan to go back to the future, but before going back, they have to make Marty's mom and dad fall in love. To do so, they have only a week. Since the lightning is going to be happen on the 7th day, Marty gets enrolled as a student to make George and Lorraine fall for each other. Doc has some of the best reaction on finding out that Lorraine has the hots for her son.
What?
Marty introduced Lorraine to George and he just keeps on getting Lorraine's good side after defending her from Biff. And George is too much of a wimp to ask a girl out. After finding out that George is into extraterrestrial stories, he got into his suit from the plutonium event and forced George to ask Lorraine out or the aliens will melt his brain. The plan worked somewhat. He got some courage and picked up lines from Marty to ask Lorraine out for the dance.
I'm George McFly. I'm your density.
But his plan got ruined by the bully Biff. I really hate the fact that whenever some bully in the movie is bullying someone, they get off so easily and the victim is the one who is blamed for everything. That's why I love the next sequence. After getting slammed down by Marty, Biff is literally on a murder rampage. He tried to crush Marty with his car. Marty on a skateboard trying to escape Biff was some of the best scenes of the movie. He outsmarted the bully and also managed to get him what he deserved. But his action only made him much more desirable for Lorraine. She followed him to Doc's garage after Doc gave Marty a demonstration of the plan. And once again, Doc's reaction was priceless throughout. And now Marty is taking Lorraine to the dance where George and her mother had their first kiss. Marty has a plan that he will act like, let's say, he is struggling with Lorraine. Then George will see the commotion and fight Marty and seize his love for Lorraine. But their plan has some hiccups as Marty was a bit nervous of what will happen next and he got to know that Lorraine was drinking and smoking, not like his mother in the future. George was enjoying a bit much and forgot the timing. In meantime, Lorraine kisses Marty, but she realized that something was wrong. And when you thought that what's the worst she can say to a guy after a kiss, and she says this.
But when I kiss you, it's like I'm kissing my brother.
Someone opened their car and Marty was relieved thinking it's George, but it was Biff. After some punches to the gut, Marty was locked in a dicky. George gets to the car and finds out that Biff was taking advantage of Lorraine. This infuriated him. At some time, Marty was released from the dicky and witnessed a great punch by George to Biff. And George wins the heart of Lorraine. To seal the deal, Marty becomes a guitarist for the band on whose song his parents kissed. After some hesitation by George on kissing Lorraine, Marty seems to be losing his existence. But our boy finally gathered some courage and kissed her. Marty was brought back to life and gave one of the greatest solo guitar performances. In the meantime, Doc was planting the cable for the lightning. Marty said goodbyes to his mom and dad after restoring their love, and he got back to the Doc to get back to the future. But before going, he wrote a message to Doc telling him about how he died. But Doc refuses to listen as this could interfere with his own existence. During this, a branch fell down because of the bad weather and unplugged the cable. Doc took the responsibility of the cable and urged Marty to get to his position. Marty got to his starting point, but his car's power gave out, and on the other hand, Doc's also ran into some problem. He managed to plug the cables, but another plug got detached. Marty somehow miraculously starts the car, but he changes the time on the machine to 10 minutes before the arrival, so he can warn Doc about the terrorists. Doc came down like on a zipline and manages to join the cable after a shock from the lightning on the cable. Marty also manages to achieve 88 miles per hour and got just in time to get the lightning on the pole via the cable, and the car vanished, leaving a trail of fire. Marty got back to his time after a crash, but his car gave up and he saw the terrorist vehicle passing him by. He got to the mall on foot and thus the 10-minute head start was wasted. He saw Doc died twice now and saw his old self traveling to the past. He was mourning Doc's death, but he rose up and exposed the bulletproof vest that saved his life. He eventually read the letter from the past by Marty after taping it together. He dropped Marty to his home and drove himself to the future. Upon waking up, Marty found something was changed, as George never hit Biff in their previous timeline, hence their life was miserable. But upon beating Biff, George's life has changed. His kids have jobs, they are eating fancy breakfast, and Lawrence and George can't keep their hands off of each other, totally opposite of before. And Biff now works as a car cleaner, I think. George really turned his life around with a punch. He got his story published too. And finally, Marty meets his girlfriend after a week in the past, but soon interrupted by Doc from the future. This really set us up for the sequel without the post or mid-credit scenes. What a movie, man. This has everything that I like. A good story, likable characters, sci-fi and a lots of comedy. Upon watching the movie, I questioned myself, why didn't I watch this movie sooner?
You donkey!
I really love this movie despite some of the question it raises, like why Doc is the only one that remembers Marty from the past, but not his mom and dad, and not even Biff. And this was also not mentioned in the sequels, I think. But despite that, the movie is very entertaining. And this is a good trilogy in my opinion, of course, first one being the best of the three. Would you like me to cover the sequels as well? Let me know in the comments down below. And check out this one if you like the mindless action with some blood in it. And I'm gonna meet you in the next one.